All right, just want to do a quick video of taking this transmission out of this F-150. You know, you guys, I mostly do Lincoln videos, and usually I don't even do Lincoln videos unless it's something that I've done multiple times and I feel real comfortable that, you know, that I'm doing it the best way and stuff. But when I was looking for videos on this before I did mine, there wasn't a lot out there, and then the ones that I did see, people made it, I think, a little more complicated than it needed to be. So I wanted to make a quick video. I'm not going to show, you know, turning nuts and things like that, just wasting time. So I'm just going to walk you through the steps. As you can see, I was able to get this out without removing any of the exhaust. All the other videos I saw, they took the exhaust loose from the manifolds, broke it loose right there, got all that out of the way. They had a bitch of a time getting those heat shields out. I was able to avoid all of that. Talking with an old school transmission guy, he said he pulls them out, leaves the differential, separates them right there, leaves the differential in. And if you do it just right, you're able to tilt the transmission forward and get it to come out of there. So I'll show you the trick to that on the transmission in just a second. So just to give you a quick idea, there are, I think, 3 connectors on one side and just this one on the other. And then you have, obviously, all the purple ones are your O2 sensors. And then there's a couple more up here. And then I took the actual, if I could find it, here you go. I took the actual shifter and kind of stuck it out of the way. I took it loose here. This little clip comes off. And I saw where a lot of people were taking the arm off and all that stuff. And then you have to calibrate it and get it back just right. You can actually, if you take this clip off, this opens up, pull that little yellow thing off, you'll see it on there, and just take this off and out of the way. Leave all the electronic stuff on the transmission. In my case, I'm rebuilding it, so I'm not comfortable buying, you know, like a takeout or anything else like that. I'd rather just rebuild it myself and know that it's done right. So the bolts, there are 2 bolts way up top here that are a real bitch, and those are the ones, and you know, you can't even see this one up here. So that if you start pulling it and you're like, why isn't it coming loose, it's probably because of that bolt right there. So we took a long, like you typically do, really long extensions and came up over the top here and got to that one. So I would say the steps: step 1, we took the rear drive shaft loose there and pulled it out. Step 2, we took this drive shaft loose from right here and we just kind of stuck it up out of the way. And then we took the starter off, and then the transmission lines we took loose from here, so we didn't have to take them off of the transmission. The starter bolts, trick for that is use a 1/4 inch drive with, I think it was a 13 inch or 13 millimeter socket and an extension about that long. And so that was able to get in there just right. It's, as you know, it's a bitch. And so once we got the rear diff off and we got this loose, the transmission loose from here, obviously all these wires, this little peg holds it to the top of the transmission. So you'll want to avoid, you know, tearing any of that stuff, or make sure you get all that loose before you start lowering it. And just lower it a little bit at a time and check everything, check the wires, and just do it a little bit at a time. So we were able to kind of scoot the rear of the transmission up against here. That's why we scooted the rear diff back a little bit, and then we had just enough space here. You can see that we actually ended up taking the flywheel and the flex plate off because that flywheel hanging down here was just blocking us, just barely. I'm sure we could have finagled it through there if we kept messing with it, but we decided to go ahead and take the flywheel off, and that gave us plenty of room here, and the top of the transmission just kind of came right along here. And as you can see, we took this sway bar off. I probably should have mentioned that. We just loosened it to drop it down out of the way. And then you just tilt the transmission, strap it to your jack, and then tilt it way far forward. And it just kind of, you know, just finagle it, and it kind of comes out at a sharp angle that way. And you don't have to take any of the exhaust off. You don't have to take the heat shields off, worry about having exhaust leaks and all that stuff. And then I'll show you guys, there's the flywheel. Show you real quick on the transmission. How we got that out. And again, another tip from the old school guy. We strapped it on here, and then you take this, you take like a 1/2 inch wrench and you use that bolt that holds that little plate on, and you tighten that down, and it holds the torque converter in, because like I say, you're going to be coming at a pretty steep angle and you don't want that torque converter to slide out. And then there's where we took the lines loose there. You've got the 1 clip here. This you'll have to pop off in order to get that wiring harness. For some reason they ran it through here, and I think it's stuck on this tab right here. so I had to kind of pop that loose, be able to get that wiring harness loose from there, or else it's going to try to pull it down. And then you've got these 2 clips on these 2 bolts that hold that little vent tube on there. And then your other plugs, you got the 2 little ones here and then the one here. And like I said, I didn't take any of this loose. We just took that little yellow piece off and loosened that there, and that was it, man. So I think that's the way to do it without doing any exhaust and making it pretty quick. And hopefully that answers all you guys' questions and makes it a little bit easier for you. Good luck.